Welcome to Virtual Coffee with Dawn Rickabaugh, the Note Queen, where we talk about owner financing and notes. Financial solutions, one mom and pop to another.
I mean, I'll tell you what, just dealing realtors, when they're good at what they do, and especially if they've educated themselves in some of these non-traditional ways of closing properties, I've promised to get back to some other people here, but I'm going to tell this quick story just as an example. I'm here in Southern California dealing with my mom's house. We're going to sell it. She owns it free and clear. Maybe it's worth $800,000 or $900,000. It looks to be in that range. And I used to be a broker, and I obviously have been an investor. I know real estate. I could sell it myself without a realtor. That is not a good use of my time. And just because I'm really good at one thing doesn't mean I'm good at all things. I have my good friend, Chris Matheson, down here. She's the one that sold my house down here when I moved out of LA. I call her right away because realtors who are good at what they do are worth their weight in gold. And I use them all the time. There's some smaller assets that it's just doesn't make sense. But I mean, I love working with realtors, and I like building a team of knowledgeable, effective people. And so because she's worked with me over the years, I consulted on a deal. She was on a realtor, helped her close a deal several years ago. From there, she became one of my investors, and still she's one of my investors that I've been investing with for years now. And she knows this. I brought her a lot of creative deals that she's looked at. And so at the point she says, look, Dawn, one of the neighbors that said they're interested, would you be willing to do owner carry? And I said, well, for short term, because really I want velocity turning around this house. So I told her when she took the listing from me, I said, look, I want velocity. But before there's a crack in the market and people get wonky, and this house loses potential value, I want someone locked in as soon as possible. So I would be willing to take a 30 to 50% down payment, and we close in 7 to 10 days. And then I give them 60 to 90 days to refinance me out. So I'm not they don't have to get a purchase loan. They're doing a refi, right? So I would rather do that and hang out in the market and find out in 45 to 60 days that someone can't qualify, and then I'm back on the market again. So one of the neighbors here came to Chris, and she said he really wants the property, but he can only come up with $100,000. Well, that's basically 10%, right? And I said, but she goes, I don't think you would do that. And I go, no, it's not quite enough. But she says, will you do this? He owns another property with $400,000 of equity over in a neighbor. It's only like 5 miles from here. Would you cross collateralize the loan with that property? And I said, yes, I would. So can you see that there's so many ways once you understand, if you can be very flexible with this conversation all day long. I would take $100,000 down. Then I'd have, just call it a $700,000 loan secured by mom's house here, and also secured by his El Monte house that's worth $400,000. So to secure that $700,000 note, I have more than $1 million in collateral. And so he's very motivated to get that refi done, right? Because if he defaults, that's not so good. So I don't know, just an example of how I don't have to just wait for a traditional offer. I'm fine. I hope we still get it on the market and it sells for cash in 2 weeks, like my other house did 4 years ago. But anyway, there's just a quick example. Realtors can be worth their weight in gold, especially, when they're good at what they do, number one, and especially if they're open to some of these other outside the box, what most people would say outside the box solutions, because it's so powerful.
You've been listening to Virtual Coffee with Dawn Rickabaugh. For more, please visit notequeen.com.